Alright, geometry students, back with another trigonometry problem. This time we're trying to find missing angle. Now, if you watched the previous video, finding missing side, we just used trig and a little basic algebra. This time things get a little different. So notice we have theta down in the bottom left-hand corner, and don't get freaked out by theta. Theta is just a Greek letter like pi or alpha. It just means it's a variable for an angle. So don't let that get you tripped up, and no, it's not a 0 or an 8. That is theta. So when we look at this, we label the sides. Since we have the angle theta and the right angle, and 4 touches both of them, that is next to, which is adjacent. And then the 5, looking at the right angle as an arrow, points to the 5, making that the hypotenuse. So since we have adjacent and hypotenuse, we're going to be using cosine. And pay attention to this next little bit, because there's going to be some usage of color to make things clear. So we're going to write this up. Cosine of theta which is just an O with a line through it, equals 4 over 5. And the reason for that gap will become clear in just a moment. Now, in everything involving algebra, the point is to solve for the variable, and usually to solve for the variable you have to use inverse operations. For addition, that's subtraction. For multiplication, that's division. And right here, since the only thing keeping the theta from being by itself is cosine, we have to do whatever the opposite of cosine is. And that is inverse cosine. And the way you make something inverse is usually you take it to the negative first power. So that's how we write inverse cosine. And again, what you do to one side, you do to the other in equations. So the cosines cancel, and we're left with theta equals, and then we've got the inverse cosine of 4/5. So on your calculator, you're going to go second cosine, and that's where you get that cosine to the negative first power, the inverse cosine. And then you can either type this in as a fraction, or you can just do 4 divided by 5, whichever one you prefer. Neither way is wrong. And you hit enter, and we end up getting an answer of 36. Now they want to the nearest tenth, so the 6 tells the 8 to round up to a 9. So 36.9 degrees. And don't forget your degree symbol, because we got to have our units.